Herzlich willkommen zu Wein am Limit, liebe Freunde. Schön, dass ihr dabei seid und einer meiner ersten Gäste in diesem Jahr is from the UK. Though he is not originally from the UK, he is from the Alsace region. You know, is that little place where Germans and French cannot decide whether they want to have it or not. So the Alsatians decided for themselves just to be Alsatians. So they do speak French, they do speak German, but my guest Jean-Marie Prat, who lives in London now, refuses to speak German to me. He speaks English. So, all right. So there we are.
It's in English today.
There we are. There we are with, let's say, a very European episode of Wein am Limit.
Yeah.
Nice to come. Nice to come here. Nice to come to Hamburg. Thanks for stopping by. We know each other for quite a few years now. You've been a sommelier, let's say, in the restaurant business for many years. 3 years you worked for the Gordon Ramsay Group for the 3 Michelin star restaurant. This is basically where we got the link. But now you're in a total different environment. Now you're promoting wines from New Zealand.
From New Zealand, yes.
Tell us a little bit. As a Frenchman, promoting wines from New Zealand, but that can only happen to French people probably who live in the UK.
Coming from Alsace, I don't know.
Okay, well.
No, I grew up in different places due to my father's job, so I'm an international person. So here we are with a New Zealand winery, a French person based in the UK, representing the wines all over the world.
What makes you come to? I mean, what makes you? Let's say to go this step. I mean, you had a good job, you had a good career.
That's true.
But a New Zealand winery. Yeah. I know, obviously, New Zealand is much more appealing to the English palate than it's here to the continental palate. Here, New Zealand wines, Kiwi wines, are regarded kind of exotic, though they have the followers. But I think in England, this is the biggest market for New Zealand wines.
That's true. The UK is the biggest export market for New Zealand wines. And I got to know myself New Zealand wines when I was working in the UK in restaurants.
What do you like about them?
I like the freshness about them. I like the purity of fruit. And I think it's a very exciting wine country. It's a very young wine country. You know, commercial viticulture started only in the late 70s, early 80s, when Cloudy Bay released their first wine. It was in the mid-80s.
Basically, we have to say Cloudy Bay is the pacemaker for New Zealand. I mean, it was the first wine, let's say here on the continent, people got acquainted with.
That's true.
Ever since, though, I think it has drastically changed.
Yeah, there is a huge change happening in New Zealand, and there is more and more smaller growers that are making a name for themselves and being apparent.
Smaller growers like
Terravin.
Terravin, that's the place you're working for. So this is located in Marlborough, New Zealand. It's a Sauvignon Blanc from 2010. Tell us a little bit about Terravin.
Terravin is an estate that started first planting. Very good. Very good.
Well, I've seen it in Las Vegas from a colleague. He showed it to me. Shouldn't have done it at Gordon Ramsay though.
First plantings happened in 1999. First vintage was then 2001. So it's just about above 10 years old.
Okay, so but first planting for this wine, but when were the first plantings in Marlborough?
Oh, in the Marlborough region, late 70s, about 78, 79.
So it's a fairly young area. I think many people, if they think of New Zealand,
it's a very young wine area, and I think it's got a huge potential for the future.
But many people, when they think of New Zealand, they think of Marlborough first. They don't think that there's any other region, and I think they think of Sauvignon Blanc first. Is that correct?
Marlborough is the biggest wine growing area in New Zealand, and Sauvignon Blanc is the most planted grape variety in New Zealand. So New Zealand has created a huge reputation for Marlborough and for Sauvignon Blanc, but there is not only Sauvignon Blanc, and there are great Pinots in this cool climate, and there are other regions than Marlborough.
I think what we've seen was like at the beginning, this was the first success with Sauvignon Blanc they had. Then they shifted towards the Chardonnay. They, let's say, they aim for Burgundian. Yeah. Then they tried to make red wines. And I think at the beginning, I'm not sure how you look at it, but at the beginning, I think these were awful wines, very green, underripe, or coarse wines. Now, which is the interesting thing, they have learned so much about the viticultural process, about canopy, that they make wines which are red wines, which have great freshness, and they're not green anymore.
No, they are phenolically ripe, but they remain fresh, and it's very important in winemaking and when we taste wine to make the difference between phenolic ripeness and sweetness. And in any wine region in the world, great wines are made by having phenolic ripe grapes, so a lot of color tannins, flavors,
So
but not high sugars.
But we need to explain to our friends what is phenolically ripe. Means that the skins and the seeds, that everything in the grape is really mature.
It's mature and it's ripe.
Okay.
And without having sugars which are too high or too ripe, because sugars will become alcohol, and if there is too much sugar, there will be too much alcohol and unbalanced wines.
All your phenolics, we go to taste now. So, thank you. That was a good explanation. Yeah. Thanks. Sauvignon Blanc. Well, say something about Marlborough before because what makes Marlborough so special?
Marlborough, it's situated north of the South Island in New Zealand, and it enjoys a really special situation and climate. It's protected from the north and the south by high mountains and by the North Island towards the northeast.
So it's a kind of a valley.
So it's kind of a valley and protected from any bad weather condition coming from anywhere. The ocean is very cold as well, and that brings a lot of fresh air into the region, so into the valley. So during the ripening season, you have warm and sunny days, which you want to ripen your grapes, but you have very cool nights. Okay, so very cool nights keep the sugar down.
What's the difference?
And the acidity level quite high.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what's the difference in average temperature?
So in March, which would be kind of September in the northern hemisphere, coming towards harvest, it goes in the 20s during the day, or sometimes a bit above, and at night it goes down between 6, 7, and 8. So it's nice and cool. Okay,
well that's quite a drastic drop.
It's quite a big drop.
Okay, we go to this wine. That's quite an intense color. Straw yellow, but for Sauvignon Blanc, I mean, like for Sancerre, this color would mean like it's very, very ripe.
Yeah.
For here, it's I guess no. So this 2010.
2010. It was quite a ripe year. Sugars were quite high, but the acidities were high as well. So we've got wines with a lot of freshness and acidity.
So here we go. So I get a lot of capsicum, green flavors, green apples, more like a kiwi, like a green kiwi kind of. There is a kind of austerity almost to this wine. There is a good backbone though. There's a lot of flesh to the bone here. There's a good acidity, but makes it really long. Yeah. What I normally don't like about New Zealand Sauvignons, there is a tendency, which I found in them, that they get very sweet at the end. Flabby, alcoholic, and that they're at the upfront. It's like everybody likes Sauvignon Blanc nowadays, like these big green suckers. But then when you drink them, they're really saturating.
They're flabby and sweet, and you have a glass and you have enough. Yeah. And what we want to do at Terravin is wine we want to drink ourselves. So fresh wines which remain dry on the palate. And there is a portion of this wine which was fermented in oak barrel in big.
This was an oak.
Yeah. Only a fraction of it.
Yeah, but
about 10% of it in 500-liter oak barrels to build on the mid palate to have a nice round texture. But then we finish with a dry, bright acidity.
Well, but what I can see is there is a lot of purity, a lot of straightforwardness in this wine, a lot of freshness. What I like is it doesn't get overheated in the back. Terravin, you said, is a family wine business, because you said something which makes me a little bit suspicious. Over the last years, the Marlborough area is one of the fastest growing wine areas in the world, because you can make a lot of money from there, because people... it's like almost like a brand in the Sauvignon Blanc world, and people are now planting everywhere. It seems like.
No, they're careful where they plant, and plantings. There are still a few new plantings going on, but now it's stabilizing.
It's stabilizing, because I think it's been over the last years. It was too much.
It has grown a lot, and because this Sauvignon Blanc style for Marlborough is very successful. And it entered the wine world like no other wine has done.
What I can recommend to anyone who likes Sauvignon Blanc, this is probably the most charismatic Sauvignon Blanc you can have. You get a lot, beside those capsicum flavors, you get this flowers kind of, you got lots of kiwi, but also guava, passion fruit, green passion fruit, green mango, citrus fruit. So beautiful wine if you're really like on a hot summer's day, chilling.
It goes very well with food as well. And
what kind of cheeses, for example, I think is nice with it.
Goat cheese? Goat cheese as a starter, or anything which is smoked fish or oysters. It would go perfectly.
It's a perfect seafood wine. So this is a nice starter, and I think at a price point, well, in the UK, what's the retail?
In the UK, it retails at £15.
That means like a €20.
Yeah.
You still have pounds?
We still have pounds, yes. No, don't start with that.
We had a discussion first, but okay. Well, €20, that's fine.
No, less than €20.
Less than €20,
because there are less taxes here in the UK. So.
Oh, there are less taxes here in the continent than in the UK.
In the UK,
oh really?
Yeah. Every bottle of wine coming into the UK gets applied a duty of £1.81.
Well, that's probably goes to Prince Charles, and to the Queen, and to just to supply the royal wealth.
Exactly.
So now we're coming to
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
So now we go into the very interesting stuff.
2010 Terroir Pinot Noir. Why do you say now we're coming to the real interesting stuff? I thought that was cool.
It's very cool, but I think there is a huge potential in Marlborough to make great Pinots. Because of this particular situation and climate with a very long ripening season. So it allows winemakers and viticulturists to grow Pinot Noir, have really ripe grapes in terms of flavors, fruit, but keep the freshness, keep the acidity, which is the backbone of any wine. But I think Pinot is such a feminine grape variety and can give wine with a beautiful perfume as long as it's not too ripe and not spoiled by any jammy character.
Let's go for this wine because it's a little cloudy. I think does it mean like you don't filter, or it's unfiltered?
Unfiltered and unfined.
Okay, so basically here you are looking for. Let's say you're going towards a more organic kind of
all our
old style, old-fashioned méthode ancienne kind of.
Yes, I would say méthode ancienne or traditional winemaking. I would call it careful winemaking. We want to reach the right balance. If we have any problem in the winery and we need any enology help to clear any spoilage, we use them. But it's important to be in balance and to try to let the wine develop by itself, but do enough work to have a stable and enjoyable wine.
Well, let's go and taste. So the
very perfume, very cherry, red cherry.
The color, first of all, is like something normally when you don't know much about wine, you kind of you're suspicious about it. Mm-hmm. If you know about wine, you think, okay, this is an unfiltered bastard here we have. But what I like is the nose, and this is really nice. I haven't tasted it yet, but the nose, it doesn't. If I would have it in a blind tasting, I mean, that's for sure. Yeah. I would really have I would have a problem spotting it. Maybe Germany, maybe some parts of France. I mean, Burgundy, not necessarily the Côte de Nuit, the northern part of Burgundy. Probably I would go more for the southern part. You get a lot of this raspberry, strawberry, but this is like fucking Pinot. I mean, like a lot of people talk about Pinot. Yeah. This is Pinot. Yeah. Well, many Pinots there's a tendency in it that it's kind of musty, cheesy, kind of Livarot cheese rind flavors. Here you get this full.
That's when the cellar is not clean enough.
Or maybe the winemaker didn't wash his hands after he went to the restroom. No, but sorry, but what I like it is this is really nice, and you get a minerality to it too. Yeah. There is really like this what you say in the French is called sous-bois.
Yes,
so
sous-bois,
forest floor,
earthy and stony.
And then there is this licorice kind of not licorice Sauerkirsch. Kirschschnaps. Griot. You find a lot of that Griot. Beautiful. Hey, this is exciting.
It's a very, very appealing nose.
Smooth like a baby's ass. Very silky textures. Yeah. Sometimes I learned in the wine business. I'm not sure how. Let's go away a little bit from New Zealand.
You need to talk like you feel it, and in a straightforward way. There is no point to go into some sort of complicated speeches. Just say it as you enjoy it.
The other day I had a very traditional winemaker, and I said, your wine has this kind of a cherry coke flavor, and I think he was almost about to hit me in the face. But you know, sometimes you have this cherry coke flavors because cherry coke. I mean, how many flavors are in cherry coke, and many of them are in a wine, like licorice, spices, allspice, and all these things. And so he was thinking of, oh, my wine tastes like Coca-Cola. So many people are, I think, much too fast when you use these terminology.
These words, yeah.
You can also say it reminds me of a porno. You know, you know what is a porno style wine?
Tell me.
It's something which never happens to you. So, so those wines, porno style wines, are the wines which are just too hard to believe that they're real.
Absolutely.
Because a porn will never happen to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's like a porno wine.
No, I don't think this is a porn. This is to me, this is more sentimental. Yeah. This is a wine like the German way.
It's got the elegance you are looking for in a Pinot. It's got the perfume, the cherry fruit, the velvety silkiness on the palate.
The wonderful world of Amélie. Do you know? This is what reminds me of this. This is a kind of a dreamer's kind of wine. Yeah. Beautiful. So may I ask price? This is a 13.5 alcohol. So also, which is lower than. A lot of Pinots are a little bit too ripe nowadays, I think.
And that's the beauty of Marlborough. It's got this cool climate. If you are careful about viticulture, keeping the yields low, being on the right side, hillside is very important. You have wines which are balanced in alcohol.
Despite it's now, this is a young wine and got a screw cap on. I know New Zealand is a screw cap country. I think almost 4/5, almost
100%.
Almost 100%.
Almost.
How do these wines age?
Look, they age very well. We had a 2005 for lunch.
Well, I didn't want to say that. Okay, I had it, and it was amazing. I have to say, it was amazing. Okay, all right.
So the 2005 we had for lunch was amazing, and
still was going.
And it still had time to go. And screw cap is the best closure we have available in New Zealand. That's what we have to remember. Is that cork is a natural product which is hard to.
I have to interrupt you. They would use cork if they would get a better quality. So basically,
certainly, I guess in the 90s, cork producers were shipping to Australia and New Zealand all the lower grade cork they had, and they couldn't sell in Europe. So that's why New Zealand and Australia were the first movers to screw caps.
So the Kiwi said to the Portuguese, if you can send us better closure caps, why don't you fuck off? We buy screw caps.
We can
that's basically the truth, isn't it? Okay. But I like the screw cap thing. Here I think in Germany also, on the continent, I think people they are quite alright with it. Though a really traditional wine drinker, you would never ever change him. And I can see that this is quite alright for this.
It's slowly changing, I would say. More and more people accept it.
I heard one day the other day at a wine tasting, a journalist told me, well, all these people have to die, and then we have all screw caps. Okay, so now we have a wine, 2010. It's a single vineyard called the Eaton. Is it right? Eaton Family Vineyard, 2010. I hope you can read it. Terravin. This is also Marlborough. So this is a single vineyard.
That's a single vineyard. Mike Eaton and Terravin in his passion to do terroir expression wines. He wants to do a selection of single vineyards, like you go in Alsace, you've got the producer making Riesling from different cru, like in Germany, like in Burgundy, with the appellations in each commune. And the Eaton family vineyard is the first one of a single vineyard range.
That means it's older? Is it old?
It's not older. It's 99 plantings.
99 plantings.
It started.
Okay. Yes.
But it's a 1.25 hectare site.
What makes it so special then? I mean, I sometimes think like in the new world is single vineyard. I'm not being overly critic now, but not having tasted the wine yet. But sometimes like, okay, we got entry level range, we got a mid range, we got a premium range. Oh, and then we have the single vineyards. Yeah, this is something very special. Come on, okay.
Mike Eaton, who is behind Terravin, he started in the region of Marlborough in 1981 at the age of 16, pruning vines. He worked for Brancott Estate. He established some of the vineyards for Cloudy Bay at the beginning. And he's got 30 years of experience of viticulture behind him in the region of Marlborough. And he knows where are all the sites because he was working for a lot of different people.
So he's the truffle dog, kind of.
You can put it this way. I mean, and he, after an experience in Burgundy, working with viticulturists in Burgundy, he returned to Marlborough and he was looking for top sites. And he selected 5 of them. And one of them is the Eaton family vineyard. And it's all hillside sites.
Okay, so that's also there is a difference in Marlborough between
absolutely
the one on the valley floor close to the Wairo River and the hillside vineyards. What's the difference in hillside vineyards?
So the difference in hillside vineyard is that you have less fertile soil, you have a better drainage and a better exposition for the grapes.
Okay.
So you get a better phenolic ripeness.
Okay.
On the flat, your vines are very vigorous and produce a lot of grapes, but maybe not the best grapes. On the hillside, you've got a nice exposition, less grapes, but better quality.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I think that's understandable.
And all the vineyards for Terravin are in the south part of the valley, all on the hills, north facing.
Okay.
Which is the best place to be in the southern
in the southern hemisphere. You have to be on the north facing. Yeah. So just from the first impression, I get this is much more Kirsch, much more Kirsch, much more focused.
Yeah.
This reminds me more of Burgundy than the first one. The first wine I thought like is Pinot Noir, like you want to have it.
Yeah.
Maybe yes, France, Germany, whatever. But here with this wine, I think, there is. I can see there is a uniqueness about it, and it reminds me more of the northern part of Burgundy.
Okay.
This is more like
on the nose,
on the northern side where you get this really cherry flavors.
So why do we want to produce a single vineyard? To express something unique, to express something focused, to express a single terroir. Yeah. And you just described the nose as being unique and focused.
No, I was just doing you a favor. Come on.
So
what does he think? You know, these French people.
Yeah.
Well, no, Alsatian people. I'm sorry. You have to distinguish still.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have to distinguish. I'm Alsatian.
I'm just trying to get it. No, but this is a beautiful nose. I can see that there is, let's say, a market for this wine because if you like more the precise things, this is probably it. Yeah, it's more precise. Yeah. Though I think for pleasure, I like the normal Pinot Noir. Maybe even better at the moment. Because with this wine,
this needs some time. It needs some time. It's an absolute baby. It's 2010. We have just released it, as you know, Burgundians are releasing now 2010 as well.
And here I have even more of that white wine acidity, freshness. So it's almost so smooth, and there is a lot of silk. The tannins are in the wine, but they're not showing. You know, they're basically they are integrated into the
There's a nice harmony.
It's quite long. Wow, this is good.
A good mineral present.
Yeah,
and that will need time. I give with a lot of confidence 10 years to this wine. It will reach, I think, a nice peak over the next 5 years, but then I can assure you can drink it in 10 years' time and you won't be tired. You will be mature, but not tired.
You know what? This sounds like made in Germany, you know, when things never wear out. And that's taken for granted from an Alsatian, French,
Alsatian influence,
half German, whatever guy, living in the UK. I think this was really nice. Unfortunately, these wines are not sold on the continent yet.
Not in Germany.
Not in Germany. So we have to.
They are in Luxembourg and in France. That's our
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg, yes.
How do you manage there? Got some rich banker friend probably. No, but I think it's great steel, great wines, a lot of soul, a lot of passion. Congratulate on those wines, and thanks for presenting them to me. And I thought, like, wait, if he's here, we know each other for a long time. I trust on his palate, have a lot of confidence, and I think, hey, it's a good opportunity to see what you're up to. And wish you well with these wines.
Thank you.
And you never know, maybe we see them in Germany one day.
Maybe.
Anyway, nice meeting you. And this was a Wein am Limit English edition. I hope that's all right. The next time I make sure my guests can speak German. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Dankeschön.
Thanks for stopping by. Ciao.
Ciao.